Hello YouTube family, Greg D here, back with another video, and today, even though I'm late to the party, I'm very fashionably late to the party, I want to talk about my review of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, because I finally got to see the movie today after a good week. It's been out for almost a week now. I know there's a ton of other YouTube videos about this, but I wanted to give you my 2 cents, what I thought. So be aware, be prepared, spoilers are coming. So if you don't want to know, or if you haven't seen the movie yet, please click off the video now. So one of the things that I will mention before we get into the actual review is I've been a Superman fan for practically my entire life. I collected my first Superman comic book when I was 4 years old, and I was pretty much hardcore just a Superman fan up until maybe a few years ago, getting into my 20s. That's when I started to expand my horizon a little bit and started to take in more of Batman and Flash and Green Lantern and Shazam or Captain Marvel, depending on when you liked him, or whatever you want to call him. It's only been within the last few years that I've really started to pay attention to these other characters, especially now that we're going to be opening up the DC universe here as far as the cinematic universe goes. First and foremost, all of the superheroes, I should say, in the movie itself, whether you're talking about Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, or the cameos by the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman, all of them look badass. I mean, honestly, Ben Affleck as Batman was simply amazing, awesome. I was really, really skeptical, much like many people, when it was announced that he was going to be Batman. Because I thought Christian Bale was an awesome Batman. Personally, I grew up with Michael Keaton as Batman when I was a kid, so that has always been my favorite. But Ben Affleck is definitely up there. Totally loved him as Batman. I really feel like that they took inspiration from The Dark Knight Rises comic book series from Frank Miller, and I really feel like Ben Affleck really encompassed and was really able to showcase like that style of Batman, like that dark, gritty, doesn't care. He's been in the game for a long time. And that was another huge surprise, is the fact that Batman was just killing everybody. He was literally just killing everybody. No matter what, every fight scene that he was in, he was just murdering people, like straight up, like mind blown. Okay, and yes, in the actual Batman versus Superman fight, Batman kicked Superman's ass, but part of that is due to the kryptonite. Don't want to get into a huge debate there, because all the fanboys will be, Batman, Superman, blah, 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 blah. Let's just say that the fight was awesome. The fight sequence was awesome. I love how they actually pulled it off. It kind of made me sad that Wonder Woman did not show up until, at least Wonder Woman as Wonder Woman. Like, she was Diana Prince in the throughout the movie, but I was kind of sad that she didn't show up until the very end. Literally, the ending of the movie is like the last half hour is when Doomsday comes in, and then that's when the three of them join together and finally take on Doomsday by itself. So with that also being said, the beginning of the movie was very confusing, very jumbled, if you will, because it seemed like they jumped from story to story. They were trying to set up all these different stories to finally get to the climax of the movie, and I feel like it was very, very confusing, because once you were trying to figure out one thing, like where they were at and what they were doing, they would jump to another thing, then they would jump to another thing. So like first it was like Batman origin story, then they jumped to Bruce Wayne during the fight with Superman and General Zod, then they jumped to Lois Lane in Africa, and then they jumped to this and that. So the very beginning was kind of meh. As the movie went along, though, it got better. I will say that. And by the end of the movie, I was hooked. I was into it. Of course, obviously, the ending being the climax and the biggest, fight scenes with Batman and Superman, and then transitioning into Doomsday being born. So, and the ending of the movie, bruh, Superman died. What the hell? Superman died. I cannot believe that they actually did it. I mean, for most of us comic book fans, you could obviously tell that it was bound to happen, just because they took inspiration from the Dark Knight Returns, the Dark Knight Rises. That you know that they took inspiration as well from the Death of Superman comic books graphic novel. So I kind of like how they put, they took instances, they took little bits of that graphic novel, they took little instances of this graphic novel, and they put them all together, and it was a really, really good story by the end of the movie. And another thing that I was kind of surprised is Jesse Eisenberg actually played a very unique Lex Luthor. Not so much like a tough genius businessman type. Granted, he is a genius, and you do see glimpses of that in the movie, but this Lex Luthor was more, I want to say, like more neurotic, more weird, more manipulative, more OCD almost. And it was a very, very interesting take, and I liked it very, very much so. Henry Cavill as Superman is great. I think that he's not as good as Christopher Reeve was. Now, granted, I might be a little biased there because, once again, I grew up with Christopher Reeve as Superman, but I definitely think he's at least the second best one. I definitely liked this movie better than Man of Steel. I thought that this movie was a little bit more centered on Batman than it was on Superman. I guess partially because they were trying to, build up his origin story, and then at the end build up the fact that they wanted Bruce Wayne and Batman, Batman, to be the one to get the Justice League together. They didn't want Superman to do it, and obviously that's why they killed him off. But that last scene, within the last 2 seconds, you see Lois Lane throw the dirt on the coffin, and then the dirt, as they pan back to the coffin, the dirt starts to like shake and kind of float, much like in Man of Steel when Superman comes out of the Kryptonian ship and he learns how to fly, and he kind of like manipulates the gravity around him. It's kind of like that. So you know that Superman is coming back. Obviously, same thing happens in the comics, but you know that he's just kind of not dead. He's just recharging. So I'm wondering if for Justice League Part 1, I really am excited to see that. I'm wondering if the regeneration chamber, the regeneration matrix from the comics, is going to make an appearance. Maybe they'll use the ship like how Lex manipulated the ship to create Doomsday. Maybe that will come into play as far as regenerating Superman and bringing him back to life or whatever. Fortress of Solitude would be kind of nice to see as an appearance there. I'm kind of surprised that they wasn't there yet, but it is what it is. But like overall, I thought the movie was good. Not the best superhero movie that I've ever seen, but it was definitely up there. It's good, maybe top 5, easily. And as far as a rating is concerned, I probably would give this movie like a B, maybe a B minus. The action sequences were awesome. Some of the CGI was a little wonky. You could just tell it was CGI and it didn't look right. Doomsday himself was just fucking ugly. Come on now. Looked nothing like it did in the comics. And granted, once again, maybe I'm a little biased because I have read the comics, but dude, fucking Doomsday was ugly as shit. He was just so totally ugly. I just can't get over the fact that. But they made Doomsday a total badass. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Once again, I was very skeptical as that as well because she's not really like muscular. She's not really bulky. Wonder Woman in the comics is known to be, she's an Amazon, so she's going to be taller. She's going to be a little bit, she's going to have muscle. She's going to be bulky. She's going to be like a warrior. But once you actually saw her in the Wonder Woman costume and fighting, no problem at all. She looked great. She did great. So, like I said, overall, this movie was good. Give it at least a solid B or B minus. Not the best superhero movie that I've ever seen, like I said, but definitely up there. Definitely excited to see Justice League Part 1. Can't not wait for that movie to come out. Some of the stuff, though, some of the plot lines in the movie itself were kind of weird too. For example, like how in the hell does Bruce Wayne have these visions about parademons and you know, the dark side Omega symbol, and where the hell did that come from? Like, are you a visionary all of a sudden? Like, what the hell? Are you Dr. Fate or something all of a sudden? I don't know. But, so, I think that is about it. I will end the video by saying Granny's Peach Tea, for those of you who have seen the movie. Like, once again, really enjoyed the movie. Solid movie, not great. You know, started off slow, but by the end, it had me hooked. So definitely enjoyed it. Definitely will be buying it once it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD. I would like to actually see the Ultimate Edition, which apparently is going to be rated R. So that'll be exciting. Kind of interesting to see what they throw in as far as deleted scenes and whatnot. But if you are a Superman fan, if you are a Batman fan, if you are a DC fan in general, go see this movie if you haven't already. It is awesome. It is well worth it. Like I said, I cannot wait for Justice League to come out and the following movies. You know, Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman's getting her own movie, and the Flash and Green Lantern may have a team-up movie at some point, and Shazam will have one. So definitely looking forward to the beginnings of the DC cinematic universe here. Granted, I also think that they could have maybe pushed Batman v Superman back a little bit and maybe made some of the solo movies, like a solo Ben Affleck Batman movie, the solo Wonder Woman, to set up the characters more so that we didn't have to see that stuff in Dawn of Justice. But it is what it is. I'm not a producer. I'm not a director. I'm not a writer. So, you know, what does my opinion matter? So, like I said, very good movie. Go check it out if you haven't. And until next time, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.